Hi YouTube, it's Candy, aka Candy Sweet Enough, and today I wanted to come to you with some more issues about anxiety and depression. And I've already covered on this, and I hate repeating myself, but I don't know, I just have some thoughts, and I find that a lot of you kind of understand where I'm coming from, so I just want it out there. When I first decided to do this surgery or look into my surgery, the breaking point for me was the fact that I was dealing with so much anxiety and depression, and on the other side I was dealing with so many problems from the diabetes. My problems with the diabetes was that I had to take so much insulin because I ate so horrible, and if I tried to diet, my sugars would plummet, and once they went down, when your sugar drops, you don't feel like eating, or at least I don't. I feel sick to my stomach and I don't want to eat anything. So I sit there and try to figure out what to have. And I normally end up eating something sweet. Well, once my body gets that something sweet, first of all, my body goes into a panic and goes, yes, 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 sweets, more sweets, more sweets. And I crave more and more. And it's also the carb monster showing itself, Once you have them, then you can't stop. So instead of eating a little Debbie to bring my sugar up, I end up eating 3. And so that was a vicious cycle that I just didn't want to deal with anymore. And so trying to figure out my life between these issues finally led me to go, maybe I'm going about this the wrong way. Maybe I should focus on my weight, because obviously losing weight would help my diabetes. I say that because I've only had diabetes for about 4 years. And when I change my diet, my diabetes does get better. So obviously I've not had it long enough for my system to completely adjust itself. So I'm fairly confident that having surgery will get rid of my diabetes. As far as the anxiety and depression, I have a hard time finding energy to do stuff. And I know that many of you have gone through that same thing. I feel like a failure. I feel like I am a useless human being. And I know it sounds harsh to say this, and I'm saying this, it's not something that I normally talk about at all. I'm very, very private about this. The only person I ever talk to about it is my husband, and I put a lot on him, and so I'm kind of putting this out there so that it's not all on him. So, I think I'm so thankful for my children, and I love them to death, and I give them lots of love, but I still feel like I'm gypping them by not being a good mom because I'm so low on my energy. I adore my husband and we're so close, and yet I don't feel like a good wife. I don't feel like I provide enough for him. I don't feel like a good friend because half the time I don't want to leave my house, and I just feel bad on myself. And I'll be perfectly honest, most of the times I just wish that I would die. And I don't want that, because I do realize when I hear other people say it, it sounds really horrible, and I don't want them to feel that way, but it's really hard to try to explain that to yourself. And so, since most of my stuff goes back to energy, I'm hoping that surgery helps. I'm not expecting it to solve all of my depression issues, and definitely not my anxiety issues. but I feel like there's factors that may help. And not only that, but if you've dealt with depression or anxiety, you know you hurt all the time. I'm in pain constantly. My arms hurt, my legs hurt, just my limbs hurt from being so tense. And it's really weird, but when they have those commercials that say depression hurts, it's very serious. It does hurt. And you just wish that you could get away from the pain. So this is what I'm hoping will change. And I try daily to change everything on my own. I'm aware of the fact that these feelings are wrong. I'm fully aware of what puts me in these moods and all that kind of stuff. I think pretty lucky in that I have a lot of self-awareness, and yet when you're there, it just doesn't help. And so I don't know, I'm looking to find out. I've heard some of you talk about surgery helping. I've heard some of you talk about surgery not helping. I don't know how much of my issues stem from my diabetes. I don't know how much of it stems from anything, but I am working so hard right now to try to make sure that I am extremely healthy before this surgery. This surgery means the world to me. It's something to focus on, which is actually helping a lot with depression and anxiety because it's some place to put my focus. YouTube's my world right now, and Facebook, and I put a lot into it because instead of just focusing on the negatives about myself, I'm allowed to just put myself out there and do something I feel positive about. And I'm still finding it hard. I want to be, I fully watch everybody jogging and exercising and doing all this stuff, and I realize that not everybody does it. And I realize that I'm not the only one. But I do love exercise, and I do love being active, and I do realize that activities will help with depression, anxiety, and all that, and help with the diabetes. But I still have a hard time finding it in me. And that depresses me worse. It makes me feel worse. I feel like such a useless human being. I feel like I'm not trying, and yet I am. And it's such a vicious cycle. And I don't know what to do about it. I do have medicines, although I don't know. I don't feel like this all the time, but I do have these episodes, and I'm just at a loss. I just don't know what to do anymore. And so right now I'm focusing a lot on just hurrying up and getting this surgery over and done with, and being able to live a different life. My biggest problem with gaining weight is not snacking. I have cleaned out my house. I don't have a lot of snacks anymore. The snacks that I do have are healthy. My issue is, and always has been, that I have a bottomless pit of a stomach. And when I feel depressed, or especially if I feel anxiety and I end up taking a Xanax, it makes me just not care and just want to eat. And I can eat and eat and eat, and I have been able to put down massive amounts of food for a long time. I don't snack in between meals or anything like that, but when I finally hit that point, I can really put it down. So gastric bypass for me is going to be awesome. Not only is it going to get rid of my diabetes, or at least put it in remission, I mean, but it's also going to not allow me to be a bottomless pit. And so that's very exciting to me, and my excitement is keeping me going. And yet I'm such a drag on my husband right now because I feel like crap a lot. And I know I should be doing something about it, and I don't know what to do, and I'm just at a loss. I've talked to people, I went to classes, I've never been to a psychiatrist or psychologist or whatever. I went one time and I felt very, very uncomfortable, and I know that I need to try it again. But I'm just kind of curious how many people, I've heard you guys talk about it, but I'm curious of details of what your surgeries have changed for you. I know that a lot of you have found all sorts of energy, and I know that some people have found a lack of energy, and I'm wanting to know, am I getting this right at all? Do I have the right mindset? Is this going to improve my life? Because right now, I can't keep going on like this. I just can't. I'm a drag on everybody. And I'm an extremely positive person. I'm an extreme hippie, I always say. I always find the good in everything. I'm extremely empathetic, but I can't be empathetic towards myself. So I don't want to be a bummer, and I promise that the next time that I make a video, it will not be a downer. I get tired of making downer videos, but this is where you go to ask the questions. So I'm going to you guys, okay? I thank you very much for all your answers. I thank you very much for always being there. And I will talk to you later.